and they have these stupid cannons that go off and they're so loud. The camera guy's rolling and then the cannon goes off and I jump 10 feet high and I'm like, oh my God.
No.
Well, I posted it because it was funny.
Right.
That's the only video that's done extremely well for me.
Went viral. What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. Today, I am joined by an NFL Network anchor and reporter, the beautiful Taylor Bisciotti.
Thank you for having me.
Taylor, welcome to the Courtside Club.
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on because Courtside Club, you know, we talk a lot about basketball, but we do dabble in the NFL world, and I know that's your expertise. And we have a very special time coming up with Super Bowl on the way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a little preview, if you wouldn't mind. If you could run down these two teams and tell us what you were most excited about and what you've been most impressed by with them this season.
Okay, let's start off with the Eagles. The big X factor for this Eagles team in the playoffs was that Jalen Hurts had gotten injured. He didn't seem like he was going to be 100%. I didn't really know what his shoulder was going to look like.
Right.
Legs. I mean, he had a few injuries that he was dealing with. So I think that was what the big question mark was coming into the playoffs. But as we've seen, he has not missed a beat. So
we actually went to the game versus the Cowboys on Christmas Eve where he
fun.
did not play.
Yeah.
But even my boyfriend's family are diehard Cowboys fans. We had a suite. We were on the field and they were even disappointed that he wasn't playing. And you know, that it's that rivalry, and obviously the Cowboys won the game.
Yeah.
But they wanted Hurts in because that's the true test. And I was actually kind of hoping for that rematch.
Yeah. What a tough year for the Cowboys. I feel like Dak had his absolute best performance of his career in that first playoff game. It was like, I feel like he finally got that off his back where he was able to, you know, win a playoff game. And I thought they were going to play a little bit better.
It's hard
it's
too.
Hard. It's hard.
It's hard too, I will say. Well, a lot of us fans, we dwell on that last play of the game. Mm-hmm. Of any game that's a close game, if the last play doesn't go the way that we think it should go, if he throws to somebody that we weren't expecting or whatever it may be, someone misses a field goal. Obviously that happened with Ohio State.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. That
it's
poor kicker.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. We all as fans look at that final play, and me being an athlete and just being around sports as much as I have, obviously the person in that moment is going to feel so bad.
I know.
And
I felt for him.
And it's even Dak in that moment. I mean, people are still going on like, we need Dak out of here. He's not this and that. And then you forget about how they did succeed this whole season, and like he is there for a reason. So I don't like for anybody to come down as hard as they do.
No,
on
I don't
individual
either. I agree,
players.
but I do think that there is something to be said for the fact that it was against the 49ers again.
Yeah,
they had some issues with clock management at the end of last year's playoff game as well. So it was just kind of back to back. I think Dan Quinn has done a phenomenal job. I think Mike McCarthy's a great coach. I think has a little bit more of an old school way of coaching, I would say. And we saw that when he was in Green Bay too. So I really think that Dan Quinn was the big difference maker this year for what attributed to how successful they were.
I know that the Cowboys are far out of this Super Bowl situation, but one last question on that regard. Do you think OBJ will end up there?
Gosh, I don't know. I think he could. It was interesting. Somebody made a point that if the Cowboys signed him but then let him go, they would be granted this like compensatory pick for letting a former first rounder go. I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, but like his knee, I don't think is 100%. So that's the reason why he did not get signed yet. I mean, it's hard to be able to really come back from multiple ACL, MCLs. I don't know how well this, you know, there's speculation as to whether or not the surgery was performed properly. What's going on there, because I think that the only reason why he did not get signed by a team is because his knee just is not ready to go yet.
But what about next season? I feel like that would be a great situation for him too.
I mean, yeah.
It's a big stage.
Who wouldn't want to go play for the Cowboys?
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he would fit in. Obviously in LA, he was thriving there.
Yeah.
Like he needs kind of that big city, big atmosphere, big fan base.
Yeah. If I were him,
feel like
I would just,
great for him.
I think it's a perfect fit. Yeah, if I were him, I'd only want to go to a fan base that's like that in a city that's like that, which he was already with the Giants. So it's like Cowboys seem to fit the bill.
We shall see. The Chiefs. What do we think about the Chiefs?
Love the Chiefs. I don't see any weakness on their team. Patrick Mahomes makes Patrick Mahomes-like plays every single week that you're just like, how the heck did you make that? Andy Reid's play calling is the best. I mean, especially if you look at his record after a bye, he like has not ever lost a game, because I think he's maybe lost one, and that was maybe this year or last year, but it just shows how good of a coach he is, how like great of schemes he comes up with. I would say that Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan are probably two of the best schemers, like the way that they come up with different plays. Yeah. Their play calling is just next level. So
what do you see for Patrick Mahomes moving forward? Like in his career, do you see him as becoming one of these greats? We talk about Peyton Manning, we talk about Tom Brady, we talk about Aaron Rodgers.
No doubt. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. It was interesting when it was Brady and Rodgers. They did a golf tournament this past summer. Brady and Rodgers against Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And it just like literally felt like those are like the old timers. Yeah. Not that they're old, but older.
Right.
And then Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're going to be like coming up and like taking that role.
I feel like we're living in this time across a lot of different sports. Like if you look at basketball, we have LeBron, who is getting older, and everybody's talking about, wait, when is he going to retire? Because we're not going to have him another 10 years.
Right.
Or if we do that, I mean, that's wild. What would he be, like 48 years old?
Well, Tom Brady is going to be like 47 this offseason.
Right.
Like people have kind of even gotten tired of talking about his age, because it's like he's just a freak of nature. He treats his body like a temple. Whatever like doctors, whatever athletic greens, whatever juice he's drinking, like sign me up, because he looks younger and younger every year.
Right.
He hasn't really regressed at all. So it's like, I would love, trust me, I was a Ravens fan when Brady was on the Patriots. So they were probably their biggest like arch rival outside of their division, the Ravens division. So there was a period of time where, I hated Brady, but I only hated him just because I was jealous of just how successful they were.
Right.
Didn't actually hate him. It was just like, wow. I mean, they're impossible to beat. He's the best. And I think that the NFL game is better with him being in it. So I would love, love, love to see him play one more year, go to a team that's set up, because the Bucs this year he didn't have any weapons around him.
Yeah.
He wasn't on a team that was ready to go to the Super Bowl. And you saw that frustration with him so many times throughout the season.
And the spotlight was on him even more than ever, because he did retire and then decided to come back. And then stuff in his personal life became news. Whether you like that or not, it just was what it was. So the spotlight was on him. Any weird reaction he was making on the field, any interaction he had with his teammates, if he was frustrated or visibly upset or losing games, like it was such a spotlight on him, which was unfortunate in that sense, because it was almost like people were looking for him to fail.
Yeah, I can see that.
You should have just stayed away. But I agree. Like, what is that team that you think he goes to where it does make sense, and it might be a better infrastructure to where Brady's at in his career?
I think the Raiders are a team.
That'd be fun.
That would be so fun. Brady and he'd be reuniting with Josh McDaniels, who he was a coach in New England on the Patriots. So I think he could go to the Raiders. I think he could go to Miami. I mean, they already got docked a first round pick for tampering, so might as well go get your quarterback now.
Yeah.
So Raiders, Miami.
Wasn't he looking at schools in Miami for his kids?
I think so. I mean, I know that they have
property in Miami.
A house there. I don't know whose house it is.
But we can
now,
always speculate.
Tom,
There's also a football team in Miami.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that team is set up to win, and we know there's a lot of unknowns with what Tua. Are they gonna have Tua? Maybe Tua will be the backup, but I don't know if he's a quarterback that you can 100% rely on, just because of the amount of concussions that he's had. So yeah, I think that could be a really fun team for him to go to.
Really quick, you brought it up for a second, the Ravens.
Yeah.
Your family is involved with the Ravens, correct?
Yes.
Your uncle.
My uncle, yeah.
Okay. Majority owner. Did I do my research correctly?
You did. Good job.
Perfect. So what was that like growing up? Is that just a staple in your family? Got to be a Ravens fan?
Yeah, I don't really think I had much of a choice.
Yeah.
But I was born and raised in Atlanta. So it was funny growing up, I would always get really excited if the Falcons were good, because that just meant that, especially my girlfriends, I didn't have that many girlfriends that were really into NFL football.
Yeah.
I had a lot that were into SEC football, but NFL was just kind of a
college
different
team too.
Yeah. Go Dogs.
Yeah.
But I always loved when the Falcons were good, because then more people got invested and interested in NFL football, because growing up, like, it was me, my brother, and all my brother's friends and my family that would watch
on Sunday.
Yeah.
Would watch the games.
Yeah.
So what is the best game that you've ever been to? Best NFL game?
I'm biased for this one because I'm a Ravens fan, but I would say Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah. 2012 season. But it was the Beyonce halftime show. All the lights went out, but it was crazy because the Ravens
the blackout game.
Yeah, the Ravens were ahead, and then all of a sudden, Beyonce, what an epic performance! But she blew the lights out, and then everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, there was such a momentum swing."
Yeah,
and
Ravens still pulled it out in the end, but it ended up being a really close game.
Yeah,
there's a lot of conspiracies around that game as well. What do you think?
I don't believe in any of the conspiracies, but
it's fun to think
maybe
about.
Maybe if they lost, right? I'd be all in on those conspiracies.
No, I thought about that because I was like, because it was a solid like 30 minutes that the lights were out.
Yeah. Oh, I remember it very well. It was bizarre. Mm-hmm. And, at that time, nobody really knew what to think. And like scary thoughts were going through people's mind too. Like, is this potentially terror,
Yeah, being there, I think it would be scarier than watching from home and being like, huh?
I think Oreo, whoever was in charge of Oreo's like marketing or social media, they put out the best tweet of all time. It was like, you can still dunk in the dark at that moment.
Yeah,
so you can still dunk your Oreos in during the dark.
Another conspiracy too. There was a show coming out on some network, because I was reading about this. I don't even know why I found this one article that was like sports conspiracy. So I started reading into it. And there was some show that was coming out on some network, and it was a premise around, but I think it was kind of like a doomsday-ish type of show where it was a blackout.
Okay.
But their show was coming out. So then some people thought it was like a massive PR stunt for this television show. I need to go back and fact check what that show is. I wish I had, like, how Joe Rogan has that like Jamie guy, and he's like, Jamie,
researcher.
look it up. I need a Jamie to look
up
what that show
I wish
was.
I had one with me all the time. I mean, I have Alexa at home. I mean, I talk to her even in places where she is not, like at a hotel room. I'm like, Alexa, what's the temperature outside? Oh my God, I'm in a hotel.
Like not home. Yeah. But yeah, I also think it's funny that Rihanna, because obviously Rihanna is a massive performer.
I'm so excited for that.
Crazy. I love the merch that she came out with. Talk about marketing. It said, there's a football game going on during my concert. Like weird, but whatever. Or something.
Oh, wait, I haven't even seen that yet.
You haven't seen that? It's
great.
So good. And then if you flip the shirt up, it's basically like if you put the shirt over your head, then her face in a football helmet kind of covers where your face would be.
Oh wait, that's awesome.
I would hope that people are gonna wear things under the shirt so it doesn't turn into
please for all of us.
Yeah. She hasn't released music in a decade, and she's performing at Super Bowl. Like, that's how iconic she is.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited for it.
Speaking of halftime, on the Courtside Club, we like to play a halftime game.
Oh gosh, I'm scared.
Are you down?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
With Caesars Sportsbook and Casino, every bet earns with Caesars Rewards. That means whether you win or lose, you're always earning towards perks like free stays at iconic Caesars properties, game tickets, dining, and more. And if you haven't started yet, here's a reminder. Your first bet is on Caesars, up to $1,250. Download the app with promo code OMAHAFULL and place your first bet. If you win, congrats. If you don't, you'll get your stake back as a bet credit.
Today we are playing 2 truths and a lie. So I have 2 NFL truths and 1 NFL lie.
Okay.
You have to see if you can spot the lie.
Okay.
Cool. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
An NFL commissioner once died in the stands during a game. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Or the New York Jets have never beaten the Philadelphia Eagles. Which one is the lie?
The Hall of Fame is in Canton, Ohio.
Yes, you're right.
Yay.
Ding, ding, ding. That was the lie. Did you hear about the NFL commissioner dying in the stands during a game?
Isn't that horrible? No, I had no idea.
It's wild, right?
When was this?
Okay, so October 11th, 1959, at Philadelphia's Franklin Field, NFL Commissioner Burt Bell suffered a fatal heart attack.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. I had no idea.
It's awful.
Thank you.
I'm sorry
for that fun fact of the day, but kind of a morbid fun fact.
A little bit morbid, yeah. Sorry, but I thought that was wild. And obviously, the Jets have never beaten the Eagles, which is tough.
That is crazy.
I feel like that would never happen in the NBA. There's just too many games.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There can't be one team that's never.
But that is rare. Team. I mean,
it's very rare.
The Jets have never beaten the Eagles. Mm-mm. That's crazy.
0-12 or something. Wasn't it that Trevor Lawrence had never lost on a Saturday?
That's because they don't really play on Saturdays.
I know, but in college.
Right, in college,
he never lost on a Saturday.
That's fair.
That was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was kind of bummed that he lost on a Saturday.
I know.
So I was like,
that was also another really fun storyline this year. That was the Jags, because they started off, people thought that it was just going to be like another season like the Jags usually have.
Yeah.
And then they came on so strong, and I thought they were a really fun team to watch. I loved seeing it for Trevor Lawrence.
Can I just say, I think that they have the coolest uniforms of any team.
The Jags?
The all black?
Sometimes, but sometimes they're like that teal color.
Okay, the all black ones are so dope.
Yeah. I love
every
time
time
do like
it's like with
ones.
the little like hint of teal.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, next up. An NFL kicker once won MVP. The first player to catch an NFL pass from Brett Favre was, in fact, Brett Favre. Or the Patriots and the 49ers are tied for the record of most Super Bowls won.
The Patriots and the Niners are tied for the record for the most Super Bowls.
The lie?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the lie. There is 2 teams tied for the most Super Bowl wins.
The Steelers and the Patriots.
Yeah, look at you. Okay. Yes. With 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And the 49ers are right behind.
Yeah.
So the Brett Favre pass, 1992.
And he caught it himself?
So he threw the
So
pass.
Gisele Bündchen is wrong. She said, my husband can't throw and catch the ball after that Patriots loss. Brett Favre somehow managed to do it.
He was throwing it to the receiver, but it bounced off a Tampa Bay Buccaneer helmet and back into his hands. But it was a 7-yard loss. But technically,
still,
like
that's awesome.
He caught the ball. I don't know. I would kind of like that as my little like,
claim to fame.
Yeah, my first passes to myself. Selfish. And then the kicker who won MVP, it was 1982. It was Mark Mosley.
Okay.
Which is wild. I can't see that ever happening again.
I could see Justin Tucker doing it. He's like a freak of nature.
True.
He had a few misses this year, which were surprising, but like he's had so many like 60 plus yard winning field goals. Like it's crazy.
But MVP, that's of all the league.
Yeah, that's true.
Quarterbacks have to be just like chilling at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
I think Mahomes takes home MVP this year.
Okay. All right. I have one more for you. The season ticket wait list in Green Bay is over 1,000 years long. The original football was smaller and skinnier than the current one. And the Houston Oilers have won their division more recently than the Cleveland Browns.
The Houston Oilers have won their division more recently because they're no longer in the league.
That's the truth. Can you believe that?
Okay.
So the lie was that the original football was smaller and skinnier. It was actually bigger and more round than the current one.
Okay.
The shape has changed. I wouldn't expect you to know this because in 1934, the ball was changed to be longer and skinnier. It was originally more round. What they wanted to do was make football more of a passing game.
Okay.
And so the round,
well, now it is.
the bigger, rounder ball
they
just
saw,
like wasn't
They
conducive.
saw the future.
Yeah, exactly. But no, listen to this. The Browns last won the AFC Central in 1988. And since then, the Houston Oilers won the division twice in 1991 and 1993. And then they moved
Then
to
why were
Tennessee
their fans
in
like wearing
1996.
paper bags over their head? Like what gives, you know?
What do you mean?
They're like notorious for like the Oilers fans. Like they were embarrassed. They'd put like paper bags over their heads.
Yeah, so maybe us Browns fans need to start doing that. It's like,
the Browns like weren't. It'll be interesting to see what the Browns look like next year, though. They weren't bad this year. It was just they went through a lot, like publicly, whether or not you agree or disagree with the decision to pay that much guaranteed money to Deshaun Watson, whether you think that they should have
But why does it end up being, whether you think these people are misfits or not, like Johnny Manziel was also a Brown. It's guys who
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
are great, and then it's not even always what they're doing on the field.
They have had an issue with their drafting, with them, some of
Right.
the decision making. I don't know.
So that's why I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know if we are
I mean, Baker Mayfield, they got rid of him and he took them to the playoffs for the first time in,
right.
what was it, like 13 years, something crazy like that.
To me, it doesn't seem like we haven't had the building blocks at some point.
I think you have, yeah.
We have, but either they're not lined up correctly, or something happened.
Something happens, like the coach wasn't right.
And Deshaun Watson, I don't think any of us were expecting what transpired.
I'm still very confused as to why they went and paid all that guaranteed money for a quarterback that hadn't played in that long, and that's up for all these
Right.
charges. It's mind-boggling. I think there was a lot of people around the league that, I mean, even you saw Russell Wilson do his deal. Granted, he didn't play that well this year at all, but he didn't demand that much guaranteed money. So like it's on the Browns for kind of course you're going to take it if you're Deshaun Watson. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, of
take
course.
as much money as you can?
Right.
But like I think it's on the Browns organization for paying that much money. It's mind-boggling. I don't understand
Yeah.
it. And also it really holds you back from signing other great players.
Right.
Because it like hurts the salary cap that much.
Or even developing talent.
Yeah.
And taking it as a rebuild, but getting a core that you can really trust and getting some good leaders.
Getting some good leaders. I think
Yeah.
that's a key part of it too, is like, do you want that person to be the face of your franchise? And are you willing to make that person kind of like the poster child for the most
Right.
guaranteed money? I think that you want
Or do you want a
somebody-
Joe Burrow type? No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And a lot of these, and if you look at it, a lot of the top quarterbacks around the league, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allen, the Tom Brady's, they will restructure and take less money in order to build a team around them that's good enough to go and win a Super Bowl. You know, they're not going to count every single dollar just to have the most guaranteed money.
Right.
They want to have enough money on their cap so they can go out and have the great receivers, have the great offensive linemen, have other, weapons in order to go win.
Yeah. I think that's something that we see and talk about a lot more in the NBA, because on the football field and on a team, there are so many more elements that are important, and it's really hard. You can't have a big three on a football team and it takes you to the Super Bowl.
Right.
You need all of these different parts. You need the defensive side. You need the offensive line. You need a good receiver. You need a good quarterback. You need somebody facilitating.
That's a great
And
point.
so we talk about it a lot in the NBA, where you look at a team like the Warriors, where some of these guys can go to other teams and get even more money than they are getting on the Warriors team. But they know keeping that franchise together. I mean, you've seen what they've done over the years. So I'm sure that it's not as easy in the NFL.
But it's a great point. And I think that, like, for example, the 49ers this year, they were able to build every other aspect of their team, an element of their team. And they've got Brock Purdy, who's a rookie, who was Mr. Irrelevant, last pick in the draft. Like, nobody thought that he was going to turn into anything. But they're able to continue the success that they've had because they've built so many other key pieces around them.
And obviously he rose to the challenge as well.
Yeah.
Like, good on him
for
stepping up.
It was cute after, I think it was the first round of the playoffs. In the press conference room afterwards, they were asking him questions, and somebody said, "Did you see LeBron's tweet?" And he's like, "LeBron, like, nothing seems to faze him." But all of a sudden, he's like, "LeBron James tweeted about me, really?" And like a smile just broke out. He's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, for sure. So it's time for the second half.
So you've got back-to-back meetings, errands to run, and the house to take care of. So what's the secret to clearing your to-do list? A little help from DoorDash. You can get dinner, household essentials, and everything on your grocery list is delivered. And personally, for me, when I am traveling, I love to use DoorDash because I can try different vegan spots in all the different cities that I go to. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fee when you download the DoorDash app and enter code Courtside. That's 50% off up to $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code Courtside. And don't forget, that's code Courtside for 50% off up to $20 value and $0 delivery fee with DoorDash. Subject to change. Terms apply.
I want to go back a little bit to Georgia. I talked about it on my show last week. Brutal loss from Ohio State. I don't know if you were a little bit worried those last
I felt like the Ohio State game should have been the national championship. I mean, did you see the national championship?
Yeah, I did see the national. I mean, congratulations, but it was a terrible game.
It was just
so
awful.
rough.
I mean, It was awful, and it was pouring down rain here in LA. Like, I actually had to work that night, which story for a different time, which was not fun. Being at our NFL Network studios are directly across, like adjacent to SoFi Stadium. So like it's a stone's throw away. So I'm sitting there doing night news with the pouring down rain, just like looking out at all my friends, like waving, like this is torture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that game was over and people started leaving at halftime, like just because it was such a blowout. Like it wasn't even a good game.
Yeah. Were you at the game last year where they played Alabama?
No, I was not. So I had just
I was at that game.
Were you? Oh my gosh, how
I had
fun.
no ties at all. I really didn't care who was going to win, but I was in a suite with a lot of Georgia fans. And they did say, I was actually really disappointed that security was so good at that game, because everybody was like, listen, if Georgia wins, we're rushing the field. I'm like, I'm down. Like, I didn't even go to colleges that had football teams.
Always wanted to rush a field.
Yeah, so I was like, this is my moment. Like, I'm so down, because we were on the field. We were in that suite. And then the last like 2 minutes of the game, you see probably like 200 security people all coming out, and they had a rope and they were just like circling the field. And I was like, no.
Bummer. This was my opportunity.
But then I was like telling the guy next to me, I'm like, you go first. You distract them. You get tackled and we'll all like jump over you onto the field. Anyway, I would have done that for Georgia in that moment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Relived
You're
my
basically
college I didn't have.
true Georgia fan now.
Not on New Year's Eve. I wasn't, though. I was completely devastated.
That, I mean, it was a fairy tale moment. The clock struck midnight and they won.
For you?
For me.
Your team was already crying. They thought it was over.
Are you sure it wasn't sweat?
No, they were devastated. Because I remember seeing, I was like, oh, we're good. I stopped watching. And then I see like 30 seconds later, and Ohio State players are crying. Wait a second.
What happened here?
What happened? What was it like you went to Georgia? Yeah. What was it like going there and being a part of that culture?
So fun. Honestly, like I could not imagine not going to an SEC school, but I really can't compare it to anything else. Like even in the NFL, I don't feel like there is as hardcore of fans, and there's a lot of hardcore fans in the NFL. I mean, like you see what they do in like Buffalo and like Philly, like it's crazy. But in like Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, I mean, all of them, their town literally revolves around football. It shuts down on Thursdays. Streets already start getting closed off. Like there's no driving anywhere near around on campus. The tailgates, like the Ole Miss tailgates are things that I've never seen before. Like they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars each week on these like elaborate tent tailgates. Like the towns eat, breathe, sleep football. Yeah. It's all that matters. It's so much fun. It really is. It's a different way of life, though.
Is there any other college football team that you're like, okay, maybe I'll root for them a little bit?
Well, it's actually interesting because I went to Alabama my freshman year.
Oh.
And it was really cool because, I mean, just knowing like the history of Alabama history, like Alabama football, like it was really neat going there. But I'm from Atlanta, always kind of wanted to go to Georgia. So as much as I liked Alabama, I love Georgia. Yeah.
So you are at NFL Network now, obviously hosting, doing some reporting. Was this always your dream to get into football on the entertainment side of it?
No, I was actually an accounting major, which is
really
bizarre. I was in my final month. I had a month left of school, and sitting in those classes, like the big four accounting firms come and talk to you, and like you basically sign the next 10 years of your life away. Sorry if you're an accountant. It just was not for me. I did not love it. I think I viewed it in school as like a challenge, and I thought it would be good for having a business like background. It was like a good fundamental like degree for like the business world. I'd come into college as a double major in journalism and business, but Georgia makes it pretty hard. You kind of have to decide between the two different schools, Grady and Terry. And so ultimately I went the business route, and I don't regret it, but I just remember thinking, and like I had like a month left of school, and I'm like, I don't even enjoy doing this. What am I doing?
Right. So
in that class, like as the big four are there, like talking to us, like trying to recruit, for each one, I applied for every internship in like journalism.
Oh, really? Cool.
And I ended up getting an internship at the CBS affiliate in DC. but it was covering hard news, like midnight.
Yeah.
And so I was able to go up to the sports department during the day. And I basically did like a double internship in like sports and news. Ended up going back to school for broadcast journalism. And
so you did go back?
I did go back.
Did you go back to Georgia for that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lot of conversation now about like, do you need, and I just got asked this, I was a guest on the Cool Kicks podcast, and they asked me, because I studied broadcast journalism as well, they were like, do you think that you need to go to school to do what you do? And I was like, it is a skill.
It is a skill
in itself. And I don't think maybe a lot of fans or people on social media might recognize it as that. Like there is a skill set that I learned in my
you learn how to, like the
class.
process of like reporting, how to report, how to write, how to it's a different
The
medium.
writing is big.
Yeah, the writing is really big because especially even like when you're writing an on-camera script, it's totally different than like how you would write a paper.
Yeah.
You know, like it's learning slugs, learning ENPS, learning those different nuances and things. But it is different. But
I mean,
like
learning from the back end too, like how it's all going to fit together. Because when you're on camera, it's a lot easier if I know how they're going to package this with what's coming next or what I'm going to throw to, how the production side. And
it makes you appreciate everybody on like, you know, the different sides, because I was a one-man band for a while and I was doing, you know, shooting, producing, editing, and I am not a good editor, so please don't ever try and hire me for editing. You will get your package in 3.5 years.
It's so time consuming if you're not quick.
And then you see some people that are just like gurus, so it really makes you like understand and appreciate every aspect of the business. But I do think that social media and different platforms have allowed creators, and I don't know if you can call them like journalists or reporters, but it has opened the door for creators to create content without going to school.
Yeah.
You're seeing more and more of that.
You can get more practice. And I think, because that was another thing they were asked too, like, how do you improve? And to me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, it's just reps.
It's totally
you just
reps.
Have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to find experience. You have to do a lot of different things. You have to do live stuff. You have to do teleprompter stuff. You have to do interviews to kind of find your footing and find what you like and what you're best at.
It's with anything in life. Like the more you do something, the more confident you're going to be, the more it's going to be like second nature.
Right. But it's not something you can like study. I can't just watch other people doing it and take in that knowledge and it makes me better. No, you like have to do it.
Do it. Yeah. And I will say Georgia had a really good program for that. Like their like Grady Journalism School, like they basically had their own news station, and it was for Northeast Georgia. So it was covering all
for American University. Okay. That's where I went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like it was reporting every day. Like you would go back and forth between like reporter, host, reporter, host. We did the same thing. Yeah.
But we all had a role. It was like producer, executive producer.
Yeah.
1 week you'd be the writer, you'd be writing everybody's scripts. 1 week you'd be the field reporter, or you'd be the anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just kind of rotated.
Yeah.
For the whole,
But it was good because like you had like deadlines, like you were actually getting on air. And so like if you didn't finish something in time.
Some jobs were harder too.
Oh yeah.
You'd be assigned a package and you had to go out and get that story.
Oh, always. Oh my gosh.
I didn't even have a car when I was in DC. I'd be on the bus like lugging around this massive camera, because at the time too they were massive cameras.
Massive. And like I'll never forget.
Tripods and everything.
I thought that I put the audio on for one package, and like I got back to the newsroom, had done all the interviews, and I like put my like SIM card in the computer completely. Like we're all there, but there's no audio and there's no way to recover it. Devastated.
What'd you do? VO it? You couldn't.
No, I couldn't. I just had to like
You're in
flunk
the booth,
that
like,
one.
changing your voice, trying to be like a man's voice. Yeah,
it was bad.
But it did prepare me in different ways that I feel like just doing YouTube or just doing social media might not have. And we'll see how things evolve, because a lot of things are going digital. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I look at the crazy amount of like what TikTokers are making though, and I'm like, gosh, maybe I did go the wrong path. Yeah. Like money wise. Yes. Yeah. We'll see. There's ebbs and flows.
There's ebbs and flows, but yeah.
Okay, Taylor, we are reaching the end of the game, so I have some buzzer beaters for you.
Okay.
Are
these hard?
No, these are fun.
Okay.
Break down your courtside fit.
Something comfortable. I'm always like a sneakers, flat shoes, jeans, cute top, bodysuit, basics. Like I'm such like,
Basics.
if I'm not in studio, I'm always like in jeans, a t-shirt, and like a cute bag.
The bag always sets it off. But the right size for an arena.
Yes, that is tricky.
Who is one person, dead or alive, that you would love to sit courtside with?
I'd love to sit courtside with LeBron. I feel like he could explain any question that I ever had about the game.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It is fun with high-level NBA players watching them watch a game because they know what's
They
coming
see things
next.
that you don't see. And like I love doing it even during like the combine or, you know, draft when they're looking at film and just or watching a game with any of our analysts, like, you know, like Kurt Warner, just like seeing what they're picking up on the field and just like it's like an inside look into their brain. And obviously we don't see the game the same way that they do.
Right.
And they see our privy to stuff that we would have no idea what was going on or like why they change a play at the line of scrimmage or what they saw that made them do that.
Right.
And so I just love getting that like inside
Eli
look.
and Peyton are doing that as well with the Manning
Oh my God,
cast.
it's fantastic. I love seeing how excited Peyton gets for these plays. Like he's pacing around his house.
But
like,
he gets excited for some stuff that is unexpected, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or he's like, wait, they should have done this. And sometimes I'm like, you lost me.
And I love how
It
candid
got a little too
he
granular,
is. He's
but
so candid. Like he's
yeah.
like, oh God, what is he doing here? And you're like, it's rare to be able to see that.
Right.
They do a really good job with it on Inside the NBA. They're always so candid, so fun, so loose.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't see that kind of setup all the time in like the NFL. I feel like people are a little bit more like buttoned up, don't want to insult anyone, say anything wrong.
I feel like we're working on it, not we. I'm not in... I say we, but I guess in the media space, I can see them working on different ways to like integrate like a fun style
I love it. Yeah.
in the NFL.
Like I feel like people want authenticity and transparency and they don't really want that whole buttoned up like welcome to the new show. Like nobody wants to be talked to like that. Come on.
RG3 like ran off the field during that one broadcast because his wife was going into labor, but then it was like a false alarm because she didn't end up going into labor. But do you not remember that?
I don't remember that.
He was on the field with, maybe it was Pat McAfee as well. Maybe it was McAfee's show.
Okay.
There was a bunch of guys, they were reporting, kind of doing their thing on the field, and it was like a more loose broadcast program, but he got a text that his wife was going into labor. And he was just like,
peace out.
mic'd himself, like ran off the field, got on a flight, and I think it was a false alarm. So, but it was entertaining. I don't know.
It's really sweet of him.
But that's like real life, you know?
Yeah. It's
Anyway.
great. I love that. Pat
Okay.
McAfee keeps it very real.
Yeah, he's wild.
Yeah.
But fun.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, last question. What is one event in history that you would have loved to have been courtside for? It could be a sporting event or other.
Gosh, that's tough. I'm going to be the most boring person alive and just say I have absolutely no idea. What would I love to be alive for?
It could be something that you were alive for, you just weren't at. But we've had answers across the board. We've had when they walked on the moon. We've had like Jordan's final game, the shot.
That's good.
We've had
I'll just jump on that bandwagon.
the shot in Utah.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic sports moments ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is probably
This is a
our
tough
toughest
one. Now I'm going to
question.
go home and think about this. I'll let you know if I come up with a better answer.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Taylor, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you
on
for
Courtside
having
Club.
me.
Where can our viewers find you on social media, and is there anything that we should be looking out for?
You can find me. I'm very boring at Taylor Bisciotti on everything. I'm not cool enough to come up with a fun name.
What's the best way to find you?
Twitter, Instagram. I'm trying the TikTok.
Okay.
It's a whole different world for me. I'm not good at it, but it's fun. I definitely go down
You don't
like
have
those.
to be good at TikTok. You just like post stuff.
Well, you
The
know,
stuff I've posted that has taken me like 10 seconds to make
is
is
usually
the stuff
best
that
stuff.
does better. And it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around it.
It's funny because the only like video that I've ever posted on my own for a while, I had somebody just like take random clips and post them for me. Then he was like, okay, this isn't working. So the only video I ever posted on my own was this random like blooper. Basically, I was about to do an interview on the field after a Chargers game, and they have these stupid cannons that go off and they're so loud. So like I'm getting ready, like I'm like in my head, you can tell the camera guy's rolling and then the cannon goes off and I jump 10 feet high and I'm like, oh my God.
no.
Well, I posted it because it was funny.
Right.
And that got like that's the only video that's done extremely well for me.
Went viral.
Of course, when I'm just getting shocked and scared and startled, I'm like, gosh, People are sick.
You just need your producer to find all of your bloopers from
right?
like the past however many years.
There's a whole heck of a lot of them, that's for sure.
I would follow you for that.
Well, thank you.
So anyway, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And this is yours too.
Ooh, yay. Thank you.
Don't mess up your hair and makeup, but
It's
you can
cute.
wear it courtside.
We'll wear it together somewhere.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
What's up, guys? It's Rachel DeMita. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Courtside Club. Make sure that you like, rate, and subscribe to ESPN's YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcasts. We have new episodes coming to you guys every single week, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you soon.